Okay, so I'm going to open a new tab, come over here to my waffle, scroll way down, look for the SketchUp logo, SketchUp for Schools, and start. And it might take a minute for it to boot up, and often it asks for some kind of just to make sure it's you. Okay, it already remembered me. All right, I'm going to go to Home, Create New. If you've never done a SketchUp project before, this is probably what it'll look like when you first open it up. So you've got tools down here. For the time being, we're going to ignore most of the stuff over on this side of the page. These are our tools. There's also some dots down here that have a little more expanded of a toolkit, but for the most part, we're going to be using these 10 or 12 tools here along the side. Now, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we save our project. And you're like, but we haven't done anything yet. Yeah, but let's save it ahead of time. It's going to throw it right in your Google Drive, which is pretty nice. So I would say I'm usually nutty about you making sure your first and last name are in your project title. But since it's in your Google Drive, if you were just to call it House 1 or something like that. So you click on My Drive. And again, the Wi-Fi looks like it's working a little slow for me. I'm doing this on my laptop. If you're doing it on the desktop computer, it should be going a whole lot quicker. So anyway, after we get this down here in the bottom where it says enter a model name, I'm going to go House 1, and we'll put, Mr. Pat, just so we don't get confused further down the road. All right. And pretty quickly over here, yes, House 1, Mr. Pat, perfect. All right, now this guy here is standing here just because it kind of gives you some perspective as to how big the objects you're drawing are. We can delete him or just leave him be. It might be a lady even when you log in. But over here, we've got our pointer tool, we've got an erase tool, we've got a pencil tool, and we've got our rectangle tool. If you hover over it, it shows you that. So I'm going to click on the rectangle tool. I'm going to click and start pulling, and you can see it starts drawing kind of a rectangle there. But you might have noticed down in the bottom right corner, way over here, I'm dragging my pencil, but down here, these numbers change as I move the thing. Now what I can do, I don't have to put my cursor in there. I don't have to erase or delete any of that stuff. I'm just going to type the number 24, and you can see it goes in there. I'm going to use the apostrophe because that means feet. It's the abbreviation for feet, and then comma 40 apostrophe. So that's a 24 by 40 foot rectangle I'm asking for it to do. Oh, come on. Wait a minute. 24, comma, 40, and enter. And there it is. That's a 24 by 40 uh, rectangle. And you can see the person standing there next to it. That's about right. Down here is your rotate or orbit tool, which is really handy when you want to see things better. So now you can see that guy standing next to a 24 foot this way by 40 foot this way rectangle. Now, right now, it doesn't look much like a house, does it? What we need to do is stretch this thing out, almost what we call extrude it, like the way you would squeeze toothpaste out of a tube. And we have this neat tool here called push-pull. If I click on that and I click on this surface and I start lifting, we're going to say 10. And again, that apostrophe, that's important. So it's not 10 inches, it's 10 feet. And you can see here's the guy standing next to the house. And that means it looks like it's about 10 feet tall because the average guy is going to be about 6 feet tall, yes? Okay, so that's a pretty good spot where we can see what's going on. Once again, I'm going to go back over to my orbit tool. Sometimes I have to click it twice, but this time it looks like it's going. So now I've got this huge cube. All right. The next thing we need to do is make a roof so that if we have rain, it doesn't all puddle up on top of it. And we're going to use our line tool now, or our pencil tool. What's neat about SketchUp is it guesses what you want to do. And that showed me that right there is the middle point of this rectangle. So I click there and I pull this line over here. And again, it's almost like a magnet. See how when I get close, it kind of pulls it to it? We call that snapping. So it snapped that line, and now I have a line going right down the middle there. And this is the part that's tricky, and students often have a hard time with this because, heck, even I have a hard time with it sometimes. I want to kind of get sort of like this. So I'm kind of looking at it from the front. I'm going to select the line, and then I'm going to select this guy, which is called the Move tool. And if I click here, it lets me pull it up, and you can kind of see there's that dotted line there. See how that dotted line kind of, when it's blue, that means it's straight up. Sometimes it's a little deceiving depending upon how you're looking at the house. But you can see there, I'll go back to my orbit tool. I now have a house with a roof on it, okay? And my best advice I can give you is if you have trouble with that, just go back a few steps and try doing the line and grabbing the move tool again. Usually it's something that either works easily the first try or it doesn't work at all. All right. So now we have something that resembles a house, but we're going to do a little bit more to it. All right, so we've got what looks like a house, but there's no way to get into it right now, and certainly no windows or doors or anything like that. We should fix that. We already know how to use our rectangle tool here, so I'm just going to come over here and draw a little rectangle. Oops, come on, rectangle. And that could be a window. All right, pretty simple. I'm going to use my orbit tool to turn my guy around to this side. I think this is where I want my front door to be. All right, and once again, I'm going to make a little rectangle like here, and maybe make it uh, 4 feet, comma 6 feet. Enter, and that is my rectangle. And remember about this push-pull tool. I can start lifting it up, and I can make it, let's call it 12, which will automatically make it 12 inches high. Okay, so that's kind of like the front step of my house. I'm going to zoom in a little more because we're going to draw another rectangle here. And remember I talked about that magnet kind of property where it starts, it kind of clicks. You should find these things pretty easy. And then if I, oops, no, not you. Oh, by the way, undo up here is your friend when things go wrong. Yeah, there we go. I want this. You can see when I hold it over there. Let me maybe orbit a little bit better so you can see. I just want this guy, and when I click on it, it turns into, there's little dots on there that's kind of shaded it, and I start lifting that up, and I'm going to go another 12. Oh, come on, you. Get up there. 12. And when I click 12 and enter, you can see I've got a pretty nice set of steps there, right? Sticking off the front of my house. And then, of course, at the top of the steps, what are we going to need? We're going to need a door. So let's make another rectangle here. I suppose I could just freehand it. There we go. That looks enough like a door to me. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's see what else I want to do here. Come back to my orbit. I've got steps. I've got a window. How about a chimney? Now, chimneys are tricky, but let's try it. Okay. I'm going to take the line tool over here somewhere, and we're going to go straight up, straight over, and straight down, and connect these guys. Now, right now, if we go back to our orbiting tool and look around, well, that's a pretty narrow chimney. But by drawing that shape there, what I'm now able to do, our old friend push-pull, and stretch that out, and there's my chimney. Now, right now, I'm not happy with this chimney because it's also following the angle of the roof. Most chimneys would be flat across the top here. I wonder if I can just go straight out. Maybe not. I might just choose to go and do this again. Remember, undo is your friend, so I can keep undoing until I get this guy here. Maybe I needed to see it from this angle for this line to go straight out. And now this guy to come down, downish, downish. Or maybe, again, what I need to do, click over here to get out of that mode and rotate. A lot of times it's about being able to see what you're doing, and you need to rotate whatever it is you're working on There we go. On face is what I'm looking for. And now when I connect those guys, ha! I feel much better about this now, guys. Watch this. I'm going to come back to my orbit tool. Yes, that looks just like what I was hoping for. Grab my push-pull tool. And you can see, listen, I've been doing this for quite a while, and I'm still making mistakes and having to redo things. So don't get discouraged when you have to undo a few things or things don't work exactly right the first time. A big part of dealing with computer-aided drafting or SketchUp is being patient. So now I've got the start of a window, the start of a door, and some steps there. Maybe I'll throw a quick window in front next to the front door because, you know, you'd want to look out the window. Oops. You'd want to look out your window to see who's knocking on your door, right? And maybe I can slide that right over. And if I wanted to be a little more precise about this, I could, as far as getting the sizes right. We know how to type in down here, but I'm just kind of quick giving you an idea of what I want this house to look like. I would definitely want there to be the steps, a door, a couple of windows in front, and a window on the side, and a chimney. And if you do that, you'll be done with activity 2. And then we're going to move on to giving this house some depth and some texture to make it look more like a house and less like a stick figure drawing of a house. All right? So go ahead and work on these. Ask your teacher if you have any questions, but try it once or twice on your own because you can see even I had to struggle there a few times to get it to what I wanted to do. All right? Good luck.